Hey, um, this is about splenic flexure syndrome and psychological symptoms. Um, I'm having a bad day today. Um, Actually, today I believe, for the first time in a long time, I have a partial blockage, and that's making me feel pretty friggin' sick. Making me pretty breathless and it's giving me chills, and I've had this before and it should work its way out. But anyways, splenic flexure syndrome. I was just wondering if other people felt the same way I did. I got the splenic flexure syndrome for like a different reason than most people that I've seen do, and it's from abdominal adhesions. I had like a surgery, and they cut me from around my sternum area to my pelvis. So I got the worst kind of scarring in there called keloid scarring. So it's in many dozens of spots in there, and so it grabs onto everything. It makes it hard to breathe, makes it hard to do everything. And so I got that first, and I didn't develop the splenic flexure syndrome first. But it slowly, as this started to heal, and especially about 4 or 5 years after it got real bad, and I developed the splenic flexure syndrome, which is just different than most people by a mechanical means, but it's the same thing, right? So, I notice, and so I make this splenic flexure psychological symptoms because it gives me a lot of different psychological symptoms. I mean, they're physical that cause psychological, and mine, like everyone else who has this, they come, the pain comes and goes, and anyways, other people don't make videos about the psychological symptoms of this, or even videos, but so one of the reasons I make this is because I notice that when, say you eat, and then it can be triggered right after eating. It can be triggered while you eat. So it differs quite a lot, but one thing to me is clear, is that say it causes you irritability, and when the symptoms of what the food has done to you goes away, you notice that your psychological symptoms clear up like night and day. Your irritability goes down, everything like that. So so when I first got this, I started to get very irritable, as much as agitation. I became breathless, and that made it even worse. The worse the colon is up into your spleen, it goes underneath your stomach, right? It affects your stomach. It affects your breathing too. It can affect your breathing. Many GI disorders can. So yeah, it just causes me a lot of irritability, and agitation, and it affects, it causes a lot of depression. And I notice, that after the meal's done, or whenever those symptoms abate, I notice that my personality goes back to normal. And if it only just stayed that way, you know what I mean? But the best that I can do is take medications, do exercise, keep things moving along, drink enough water, and try to enjoy whatever you can. But man, what a nasty thing, It's like you have to eat, and you're gonna have to expect that you're gonna have a lot of pain. About half the time. For myself, it's about half the time. My adhesions are very bad. I just can't believe the amount of irritability and agitation that comes from it. And a lot of depression is involved with this, with the adhesions and with the splenic flexure syndrome. My depression is very bad because of it, and I never know from day to day what it's going to bring. There are many other psychological symptoms. There are other things with splenic flexure that worry me. When I'm out in public, how my symptoms are going to be. The more I sit down, the more, that I can reinforce, it into your spleen even more. I can't sit down in the first place, but that's just another reason. I wouldn't say that it makes me housebound, but it definitely contributes to it. And being around people, and I can only be around people for a certain amount of time with certain symptoms that I have, like my prostate and this and other stuff. But yeah. The pain caused by this and the type of pain caused by this, certain types of abdominal pain, especially sharp and into your colon, into your spleen, and into your rib, can cause significant psychological symptoms.